Welcome back, everyone, to the next installment of Chaos Child. We're in a bad spot right now because Senri Minamisawa and Kurisu are now all over the internet, and things aren't looking very good. But we're back. Dad was standing in the front lobby, chuckling.
こんばんは、佐久間先生。なんか大変ですね。
まあな、こんなのは初めてだからどうしていいのやら。
Dad scratched the back of his head.
クルスはどうしてる？
意外と言っちゃかわいそうだが、割と塞ぎ込んでる。あいつにしては珍しい。
I'd figured that Kurisu was like any other girl. She was either scared or depressed after what happened. But it hurt to hear that a strong-willed girl like her was down.
早く言ってやれ。タクルたちの顔を見れば少しは元気になるだろう。
はい。
Sarika and I ran up the stairs to the dorm. I could see her sitting at the dining table with her head drooping down. And past her, hiding in the kitchen, Yui and Yuto were looking on, worried. There was a cold cup of English breakfast tea on the table, and Uki was pacing around, wondering if she should make a new one.
ただいま。
こんばんは。
They all looked relieved to see me.
タクルにセリカさん。よかった。来てくれて。
ああ。
I waved to Yui a little, then tried to talk to Kurisu.
大丈夫か、クルス。
Kurisu slowly looked up as if she'd only just now realized we were here. Her tone made it obvious that she was trying to hide her shock.
心配してきてくれたの？ありがとう。
ああ、伊藤も来るってさ。
そう。そんなところに立ってないで座ったら？
あ、そうだな。
うん。
Sarika and I sat across from her. Uki quickly brought us some tea.
クルスさん、お茶新しくしましょうか？いいわ。ありがとう。
Kurisu smiled and politely refused. Uki looked a little sad.
なあ、クルス。あんまり気にすんなよ。アットチャンネルなんて秋っぽいやつらばっかりだ。人の噂も75日とか言うけど、75日も持たない。多分1ヶ月もしないうちにみんな忘れると思う。だから、その間だけちょっと我慢すれば。
私のことはいいの。何を言われても別に構わないわ。でも、私の大切な人たちや大切な家に迷惑がかかるのが許せない。
Her voice was shaking with sorrow. Yui and Yutu ran out from the kitchen and grabbed onto her from both sides.
ののね、平気だよ。私なら全然平気。僕も大丈夫だから。ゆうと。でも学校でいじめられたりしたら。そんなの気にならないよ。っていうか、ユウをいじめるようなやつがいたら、私がただじゃおかないから。
Kurisu's eyes were wet with tears.
ごめん。ごめんね。どうしてのの姉が謝るの？何も悪いことしてないのに。そうだよ。謝ることないよ、のんちゃん。
Everybody rushed to defend her. But that only seemed to make it worse. Looking at her made me feel angry. Where had the information leaked from? And why would information come out that made her look like an accomplice just because she was an old friend of a serial killer? I mean, phrasing. It didn't make sense. It was crazy. And then I realized that something was wrong. I'd been so shocked by what had happened that I hadn't had time to think about it, but...
なんかおかしくないか。
At Channel was always looking for a new target to make a fuss over, and Senri Minamisawa fit the bill perfectly. But had there really been enough time for them to start focusing on Kurisu and Aoba Dorm? Yeah, this was pretty instant. Again, this chapter is called Betrayal. Even for At Channel, that was weird. As soon as I had the thought, I froze. Someone set this up? Were they after Kurisu, or maybe Aoba Dorm? Who would do that? And for what? What could they gain by going after Kurisu or Aoba Dorm? Well, we got the cell phone conversation. They want to increase suffering, but I was assuming that was for us. I guess this would indirectly affect us, but that seems a little roundabout. I took the phone out of my pocket and dialed a number.
Toku?
Shinjo?
どうしたの?
Everyone looked at me surprised. I motioned for them to be quiet and stood up. I needed to move somewhere I wouldn't be overheard so as not to worry Kurisu more. Now, I know that Arimura had the footage, and I forgot if she deleted it or said she would. It's either her or maybe Kunosato, because Kunosato's just that cold. I guess we'll find out. I hurried to my own room, then focused on the sound of the ringing phone. After a long time, there was finally an answer. Shinjo was in just as much of a hurry as I was. I cut him off and yelled.
どうしておかしな情報が漏れてるんです？
ネットの件か。今、サイバー対策課が調べてる。もう少し待ってくれ。それより、
警察から漏洩したんじゃないんですか？
それも含めて今調査中だ。
Shinjo sounded a little upset. He probably didn't want to think that any of his colleagues had leaked important information.
それより、君は今どこにいる？
青葉寮ですけど。
ちょうどよかった。いいか、よく聞け。これは君たちの命に関わる重大な話だ。
Our lives were in danger?
俺も君たちも大変な勘違いをしていたんだ。皮肉な話だが、ネットに情報が漏れたおかげで判明した。
Oh? A mistake?
君や有村さんを襲ったパイロキネシスト。あれは南沢千里じゃなかった。
Oh. But what does that mean? Are we dealing with a twin situation? Because someone whose face we couldn't see died and was burned up. But if that wasn't Senri, then... My eyes went wide as I stood there in shock. My grip on my phone tightened.
南沢千里じゃなかった？
あ、
じゃあ誰なんです？
灰田理子だ。
And that's not an alias?
はあ？それって偽名じゃ。
そう。俺たちは灰田理子というのが偽名で、偽の身元だとばかり思っていた。でも、ネット上に彼女を実際に知っているという情報がいくつも書き込まれているのを見つけたんだ。
So maybe she was dressed up to look like Senri?
最初はただのデマだと思ったんだが、一応その書き込みをもとに彼女の故郷と言われる場所を地元警察に洗ってもらった。その結果、灰田理子の実在が確認された。
そんな。
マンションで見つかった焼死体の歯の治療痕も地元の歯科医の記録と完全に一致した。間違いない。俺たちが南沢千里だと決めつけていたパイロキネシストは灰田理子という全くの別人だったんだよ。
There's gotta be misinformation here. Maybe Riko Haida died and Senri's out there? Because this seems weird.
ちょっと待ってください。
I moved the phone away from my ear so I could think for a second. Right, that's the whole thing. If we forgot about Rico for no reason, then I guess, oh, this other person has motivation. But Senri would have motivation to go after us. So I'm thinking the pyrokinetic is out there, and Rico is just some person. That woman wasn't Senri Minamisawa? Then did the real Minamisawa die in the Shibuya earthquake like Kurisu said?
それならどうして僕は狙われたんだ
I'd never known a woman named Riko Haida. I'd never met her or even heard the name before. I couldn't think of any reason why she'd come after me. What was she doing with Senri Minamisawa's ID card then? I couldn't think straight. I kept coming up with new questions.
もしもし、宮代君、聞いてるか？
はい
I put the phone back to my ear when I heard the panic in his voice.
さっき、灰田理子の検視結果がようやく出た。死亡推定時刻は10月23日の未明から昼頃にかけてだ。
10月23日
Yeah, of course. It was overnight, so the new generation murders are still going. So I guess we have a month?
そうだ。その時間帯に彼女はすでに死んでいた。
でも23日の夜僕はカフェで襲われたんですよ
Well, not according to every single other person we were with. We had a vision of being attacked.
これは久野里さんの説だが、君を襲ったのは灰田理子本人じゃない。多分別の能力者が灰田理子の妄想を君に見せただけだ。それしか説明がつかない。
別の能力者
We know there are multiple. I felt a cold, sticky sweat on my forehead. Another psychic. I suspected it many times, but in the end, I discarded the possibility. Why? Like, we know 2 psychics and we're a third. Excuse me, we know 3 psychics and we're a 4th. Why not another psychic? That's why I thought this was all over.
灰田理子の頭部はかなり損壊していて、すぐにわからなかったんだが、脳に肥大化の痕跡が発見された。猟奇殺人の他の被害者と全く同じだ。おそらく彼女は思考を操られ、自分で自分を串刺しにした挙句、さらに自身の体を燃やしたんだ。この異常な手口も他の被害者と共通している。
I mean, people were compelled to take themselves out before, but all the way through the body lengthwise with the rebar? Even with psychic help, that's something else.
じゃあ真犯人は10月23日に能力者である灰田理子を惨殺したということになる。
そうだ。スケジュール通りにな。
ってことは
I was too scared to say what came next. You have until November or something. Shinjo said it for me.
ニュージェネの狂気の再来は23日で途切れてなんかいなかったんだ。事件はまだ続いている。
That sucks. Those are some grotesque murders. And they were flashing through a lot of the ones we didn't personally see. The old generation murders, like Yummy Hand was that last one. Today was October 28th. If the murders weren't over.
気をつけろ、宮代君。多分誰かが狙われてる。
Oh, was there another one in October? Oh man, so we're in danger now? This is bad. I felt like every hair in my body was standing up on end. I imagined a hand reaching out from somewhere and putting a cold blade to my neck.
新庄さん、僕たちどうしたら
とにかく一人になるな。君のところに今後輩を向かわせてる。俺は有村さんの家へ行って彼女を保護する。その足で君らのところへ向かうから。いいね。
はい、お願いします。
I hung up, jammed the phone into my pocket, and ran out of the room. My legs were trembling, and I almost tripped several times. When I got to the dining room, Kurisu and Sarika were folding everyone's laundry.
何かしていないとつい悪いことばかり考えてしまって。
Kurisu forced herself to smile as she looked at me, but she must have seen the look on my face because her smile faded instantly.
どうかしたの？僕？
ユイたちはどうした？
I couldn't see Yui, Yuto, or Uki.
ウキちゃんと一緒に佐久間先生のお手伝い。今日はもう委員を閉めるんでお掃除をしに下へ行ったよ。
そっか。
Dad had probably figured that with all the media outside he wouldn't get any work done today, so he must have decided to close up early. I looked out the curtain and saw that the street was filled with vans. None of them showed any sign of leaving. But whether this was fair or not, even though I'd hated them a moment ago, I now felt glad they were there. With this many people, no matter who they were, the killer wouldn't be able to get at us easily. I guess, but I might kind of feel the opposite, like which one of them is the killer. I went to close the curtain and saw that there was some kind of commotion going on outside. The window glass was too thick for me to hear, but something must have happened while I was on the phone.
尾上、クルスのこと頼む。何があっても絶対にそばを離れないでやってくれ。絶対にだぞ。
ねえタクル、何かあったのなら教えて。
後でちゃんと話すから。とにかく任せたぞ、尾上。
オッケー。
These two weren't psychics, so they were probably safe. Again, I still think Sariko's a prime target, but it was best to be sure. I ran down the stairs to the clinic. I could see Yuki and Yuto cleaning up the equipment in the exam room.
父さんとユイは？
父さん、外でマスコミの人と喧嘩してる。
喧嘩？
はい。委員の窓から中を隠し撮りしようとした人がいたんです。それで佐久間先生が怒って外へ。
I listened carefully, and sure enough, I could hear Dad arguing with what sounded like a reporter.
ユイも父さんと一緒なのか？
え、お姉ちゃん？
Yuto and Uki looked confused. Oh boy.
お姉ちゃんならさっきタクル兄ちゃんのところへ行ったでしょ？
何？
Yui went to find me?
いや、来てないぞ。
でも確かに寮へ上がっていきました。
そんなバカな。
I turned around and ran back up the stairs to the dorm.
ユイ！どこだ、ユイ！
But I couldn't find her no matter where I looked. She wasn't in her room, or the bath, or the toilet. I looked everywhere. After I looked everywhere I could, I finally decided to check the dorm's emergency exit and shivered as I saw that the inside latch was undone.
いつもきちんと鍵がかかってるはずなのに。
Did she go outside? Why? Did she get a delusion? I could feel my heart pounding with terror as I ran back into the clinic.
やっぱりどこにもいない。
そんなはずないよ。さっき伊藤さんが来て。
伊藤？
はい。それでゆいさんは伊藤さんと上へ行ったんです。
Okay, so Ito was the illusion that led her out? This sucks.
伊藤と一緒なんだな。ユイ一人じゃなくて。
はい。
そうか。
No, this is a problem, because we never saw Ito. I breathed a small sigh of relief. Are you kidding me? This is a problem. If it was just Yui, she might have been in danger, but if she wasn't alone, it wouldn't be as easy for someone to attack her, unless that person was what looked like Ito.
とにかく伊藤に電話してみる。
As I took out my phone, Sarika and Kurisu came into the room. They were worried. They looked even more worried when I told them that Ito and Yui had vanished.
ゆいと伊藤くんが？
What is with this relaxing music? This is a problem.
どこ行っちゃったんだろう。
もしもし、伊藤が。ん？
ああ、宮代。
Hi, I'm on my way over.
お前どこにいるんだ？
どこってコンビニから帰るところだよ。買い出ししてきたんだ。
Oh? Ito's voice was the same as ever. Really?
ユイは一緒なのか？
ん？そばにいるけど。
Really? That's genuinely shocking. Honestly, if we're gonna do that big breath of a sigh of relief, I think they should have held it for a few more text boxes, because I was really waiting for the big shock. Like, I haven't even shown up yet. I'm 5 minutes away. That would have been terrifying, but I guess he silently showed up and took Yui out with them? What the hell?
そうか。
I felt relieved, but screamed into the phone anyway. Yeah.
お前な、コンビニに行くなら誰かに断ってからにしろよ。ユイまで連れ出してみんな心配してんだぞ。
確かにそうだったな。悪い悪い。
And to be fair, he thought the killings were over, so it's not like, oh, what a stupid thing I did, but yeah.
とにかく急いで戻ってきてくれ。ユイが危険かもしれないんだ。
それなら大丈夫だろう。ゆいちゃんに何かあったら、俺が手術して治してやるからさ。
What?
あ？
My mouth hung open for a second. An operation? What the hell was he talking about? Okay, so this is the big reveal. Okay, I was right the first time.
Huh?
And then I realized that I could hear muffled moans next to him.
おい、伊藤、今のユイの声じゃないのか？何やってんだ？
あのさ、俺、いつか佐久間先生みたいな医者になろうと思ってたんだよな。知ってたか？
You know, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't think he was the traitor. I thought this was a delusion. But if Ito is just straight up the bad guy, I don't know where the hell that came from?
だから何してんだよお前。
やっぱコンビニで買ったナイフじゃ切れ味が悪いな。確かに痛いだろう、これじゃ。
おい、伊藤、何冗談言ってんだ。ユイを電話に出せ。おい、
宮代、お前さ、急いで持ってきてくれないか？ちゃんと切れるメスと麻酔薬。
God damn.
あと、骨を切るノコギリみたいなのなかったっけ？これじゃあ、ゆいちゃんがかわいそうだ。
That saw thing that cuts bones. Do you perhaps mean a bone saw? He hung up. Wow, that's creepy.
ユイ、どうしたんだユイ。
I think the biggest twist is that he actually took her to the convenience store. I pushed the call button again and again with shaking fingers, but he must have turned off his phone because he didn't pick up.
なんだよ。どうして伊藤が。
Yeah, what even telegraphed this? Like, all this time I've hated you. Like, where did this come from? This is completely out of nowhere. My mind couldn't keep up with this. It was too much to believe.
タクル、ユイがどうかしたの？なんか悲鳴みたいなの聞こえたけど。
You're taking that pretty well.
タクル兄ちゃん。
I suddenly felt like I was about to throw up. I shoved my face into the sink and tossed up everything I had in my stomach. It was like I was vomiting up hate, fear, and despair, and no matter how much I tried, it wouldn't stop.
大丈夫、タクル。
When I'd thrown up so much that there wasn't even any stomach fluid left, I turned around to see Kurisu behind me.
クルス、電話だ。新庄さんにとにかく電話してくれ。
え？
このままじゃユイが殺される。
I really hope that Ito isn't the mastermind, because if he is, this is gonna be creative. I let Kursu handle getting in touch with Shinjo, and I ran out of the emergency exit of the dorm. My voice echoed down the rows of houses. Some nearby reporters ran over.
どうしたの君？何かあったのかい？
さっきここから誰か出て行きませんでしたか？
え？
僕くらいの男と、あともう少し若い女の子です。知りませんか？
あの二人かな。インタビューしようとしたら無視されたけど。
どっちへ行きました？
確かあっちだと思うけど。
I ran in the direction he pointed to without stopping or looking behind me. I could hear them asking what happened, but I didn't have time to tell them. I ran, screaming the names of my little sister and best friend. Well, it hurt to breathe, but I couldn't stop running. My only thoughts as I ran were of Yui's safety and Ito's strange behavior. His tone had been the same as ever. It was the exact same tone he used when he was laughing about the latest weird school gossip. So why would he do that to Yui? It had to be some kind of mistake, because Ito wouldn't...
もし他に犯人がいるなら、23日だって南沢千里に代わってそいつが事件を起こしたはずだろ。けど実際は何も起こらなかった。ってことはこの可能性は消えたってことじゃないのかな。もうやめようぜ。なんつうかさ、副部長が辛いと思うんだ。
俺。
僕が別の能力者の可能性を完全に排除してしまったのはあの時だ。伊藤はクリスのことを引き合いに出して僕に考える間も与えずに重大なメモを剥がして捨てた。それじゃあれはわざと。
The more I thought about it, the more unbelievable it seemed. How long had I been running? My throat was dry and it stung. I was gasping for breath and in dire need of water. Sweat was dripping off of me and I was so out of breath that I couldn't think. I looked around and saw that I was in a residential area of Shibuya that the reconstruction teams hadn't gotten around to yet. There were still a lot of abandoned houses. Even during the day there was little foot traffic, and there were always rumors that at night you could see the vengeful ghosts of the people who died in the quake wandering beneath the streetlights. It wasn't that far from my Alba dorm, which meant that during my search I must have circled back without knowing it. Just as I was about to turn around and head for Miyashita Park or Hekiho Academy, I heard a faint sound. A tiny noise like tearing cloth. I thought I might have imagined it, but forced my aching legs forward to look in the alleyway where I'd heard it. The lights didn't reach into the alley, so I could see nothing but darkness. I could hear the sound of water going drip, drip, drip. Some house's pipe must have broken. I took another step forward into the darkness as if I was being drawn by the sound. Suddenly there were several sharp metallic clangs at my feet. I quickly jumped back, surprised. When my eyes adjusted to the darkness, I saw that they were paring knives. At my feet? Would somebody throw them and miss, or drop them? And all of them were stained dark with something, their blades bent or broken in places. Ugh, did I step on them then? This knife I bought at the convenience store doesn't really cut all that well. I felt something cold crawl out my back as I remembered Ito's words.
Oi. Yui? Iru no ka? Yui?
I took another step forward. There was what felt like a puddle of water at my feet, and I heard a splash. But there was no answer. I took another step forward. The splash got louder. And then I realized that the liquid was sticking to my shoe. I looked down and saw that my shoe was stained the same dark red color as the knives. The wind must have changed course because the moment I had that thought, I smelled something awful. I inhaled a full breath of the stench before I could cover my nose and mouth. And then I looked toward the source of the smell. And when my eyes adjusted to the darkness, I could see it. That's fucked up. It was the unpleasant but somehow seductive and sweet smell of meat. I could see small boxes laid out in the rough shape of a human body. It looked like some kind of grotesque homemade doll. The dark red liquid was flowing from the boxes. I suddenly felt an urge to throw up. How long did it take me to realize that I was staring at what was left of my little sister? Because of that, it took me a little while to notice the man further down the alley, staring at the pool of blood. He was holding the murder weapon in his hand. It was dripping with blood. Really? Ito hopped over what used to be Yui and spoke to me in the same pleasant tone he always used.
どうしてだってそれは俺の方の質問だよなお前さなんであの時助けなかったんだあの時なんで見捨てたんだ
Oh, no way! Senri actually died, but Ito's her brother or something? Get the hell out! Or even if he's not, he was really close to her in the past, maybe? Well, I'll be damned, that's an actual motivation that did not completely come out of nowhere.
誰って千人はあんなに苦しんでただろうが
Senri? Senri Minamisawa? Why was he saying her name? Why was Ito talking about Senri?
どうだ自分の大切なものを失う気分は自分の無力さを思い知りながら後悔に苛まれる気分は
How the hell did he play it cool for like a decade? I felt nothing but confusion. What I was looking at didn't seem real, so I just stood there and stared at Ito's face, dumbstruck.
俺にとってかけがえのない存在だったそれをお前は見殺しにしたんだでこれでようやく復讐を
This is some old boy shit. Talk about the long con. What was the relationship between Senri Minamisawa and Ito? What happened between them? It didn't look like I'd have time to think about it. Ito's knife got steadily closer to me.
次は宮代の番だよく切れるメスと麻酔薬は持ってきたかそれがなきゃひどく痛くて苦しむぞゆいちゃんみたいにな
Ito smiled a murderer's smile. Oh, so that's how it's gonna be. For some reason, I'd lost the capacity to think clearly. That was the only thought that was left. I'm not even going to look like a person when he's done with me. Just like Yui. The feeling overwhelmed me. All I could do was stare into Ito's bloodshot eyes, and wait for the moment of my death. Or break out a psychic move. Oh yeah? Ooh boy. And then, I heard what sounded like a scream behind me. It was enough to drag me back to my senses. I mean, even if it is going to mean that we're gonna die, maybe don't show up. I looked back and saw Kurisu standing under the streetlight, her shoulders heaving up and down.
伊藤君何をしているの
Her eyes went wide at the knife in Ito's hand. Just don't glance down. He'll kill you too. Get away from here, Kursu. I wanted to tell her to get away, but only meaningless noises came out of my mouth. It was like my vocal cords had been paralyzed. Kursu did the exact opposite of what I'd hoped she would. She ran into the alley, blocking my way out. And at the same time, she noticed the boxes filled with body parts in the stinking pool of blood. She gasped. It's gonna be weird for Ito to explain this to anybody but me. And Sarika. I was finally able to speak, but I couldn't answer her question. It was pathetic, but tears started to well up in my eyes. I couldn't stop them. Ito answered for me, flipping the knife from one hand to another as he spoke.
ほら、気をつけなよ、副部長。その箱を一つでも踏みつぶしたら、ゆいちゃんを組み立てられなくなる。
Kursu jumped back and started to shake as she stared at the boxes. She sank to her knees and reached out toward what used to be Yui, not caring that she'd be soaked with blood. She picked up something long and thin. It had a pretty nail on it, one which had never been manicured even though its owner was old enough to be interested in makeup. It was Yui's finger.
Dakara, 副部長、勝手に触らないでくれよ。ゆいちゃんが綺麗に見えるよう芸術的に詰めたんだから。どうして？全部宮代が悪いんだよ。南沢千里を苦しめたから。その復讐さ。
I wonder if he genuinely does not know about Sarika. That would be an insane coincidence.
千里の復讐？
そうだよ。千里はもっと痛かったろう。苦しかったろう。しかも実験が辛くて死にたいと思っても死ねなかった。ゆいちゃんなんてまだ幸せだよ。こうしてすぐ死ぬことができたんだからね。
When I heard those words, something snapped inside me. The fog in my head cleared instantly and my blood started to boil. This is gonna get violent. It was a rage I couldn't control. The next thing I knew, I'd leapt at Ito with my bare hands. He pointed the knife straight at me as if he'd been waiting for this. I could tell it was pointed straight at my neck, at my carotid artery. If I'd been more calm, I would have known better than to jump on him without any defenses, but now I couldn't hold back my anger. He must have thought he had me because a cruel thin smile formed on Ito's lips. I knew I was going to die. I hoped that Kurisu at least might be able to get away. The last thought that went through my head was... If heaven was real, that was probably where Yui was going. But I knew without a doubt that I was going to hell. So I'd probably never see her again. Didn't count the second person. But the moment of my death never came. Instead, I heard Kurisu scream. It was a violent sound, unlike anything I'd ever heard from her before. I looked in surprise and saw that she'd grabbed Ito from the side, and the two of them were rolling on the ground. The two of them were rolling around in Yui's blood. Goddamn. She didn't seem to hear me at all. She screamed like a wounded animal and tried to grab both of Ito's arms from behind. Her whole body was covered with Yui's blood, and each time she moved, her long hair flew up and sent dark red splashes everywhere. Ito tried to shake her off and punched her in the stomach. She moaned in pain when the impact hit her where she'd been stabbed before, but she still hung on desperately and refused to let go. I leapt on top of Ito without even thinking. I grabbed the hand with the knife and smashed it into the ground with all my might. There was a dull snap as his fingers shattered, and the knife fell to the ground. From one slam, damn. I kicked it far away. Or stay on him, actually. I put my full weight on Ito's back and pinned him to the ground. He was stronger than I thought, and he almost knocked me off, but I refused to let go. But she didn't seem able to answer my question. She sat down on the ground and tried to catch her breath. The shock seemed to have temporarily robbed her of her ability to breathe. Big tears fell from her eyes, and when she finally caught her breath, she started to sob.
Fukubuchou, 恨むんなら宮代を恨むんだな。あの時こいつが千里を見捨てていなければ、俺だってこんな事件を起こすこともなかった。なあ、宮代?
But did you really kill, like, 10 psychics per year or whatever it was, all to set this up? Because that, like, what?
すべての事件の元凶は宮代だったんだ。お前が追いかけてたはずのニュージェネの狂気の再来事件は、実はみんなお前を追い詰めるために俺が起こしてたんだ。
Like, what about the original generation madness?
そんなことも調べられないで何が情報強者だよ。すげえ滑稽だぜ宮代。
That couldn't be true. People had died because of me. If I'd found the truth faster, Yui wouldn't have died.
嘘。
Kurisu's voice was so soft I couldn't hear what she was saying.
クルス。
嘘よ。伊藤君の言ってることはみんなデタラメじゃない。
はあ?
Kurisu jerked her face upwards without bothering to hide her tears. She stood up enraged and screamed into the sky.
あなたは誰？伊藤君にこんなことをさせて。どこかで私たちを嘲笑っているのは一体誰なの？
There were multiple people in the prologue. I mean, I could believe that Ito is one of them, but if he was possessed, that's another whole scary thing, if that's someone's ability.
クルス。
I'm still waiting to see who the hell that old woman was behind Uki in the earlier scenes.
見てるのは分かってるのよ。私の大切な妹をこんな姿にしたあなたは一体誰？
Something red dripped down off Kurisu's skirt. Was it Yui's blood, or had Kurisu's own injury opened again?
どういうことだクルス？
伊藤君は千里のことなんて知らない。誰かにそう思い込まされてるだけ。
Huh.
はあ？何言ってんだよ。俺は大好きだった千里のために復讐を。だからそんなの嘘。私は千里と一緒にずっと過ごしてきたのよ。千里はあなたに会ったことなんてない。なのに復讐なんてありえない。
Oh, that's an interesting twist then.
バカなこと言うなよ。俺は千里を愛してたんだ。だから千里のために
I could tell that Ito's body was starting to shake underneath me. His teeth were chattering as if he was afraid of something.
それも全部デタラメよ。千里はあなたなんて絶対に知らない。だからあなたが千里を愛しているはずがない。
違う。糸
Ito flailed about. Foamy bubbles were pouring from his mouth. His bloodshot eyes had rolled up into his head, and they were so swollen that they looked like they might burst out of their sockets. And... Whoa. Suddenly, blood started to pour out of both his eyes. It's got the scary music, but is he a new victim, or is he being possessed? It wasn't Yui's. It was very clearly his own. When I recoiled, he crawled out from under me and then curled up on the ground. He grabbed his head with his hands and started to spasm and flail about. Is his head actually going to burst? Ito tore at his head and finally started to bang it against the ground. Kurusu and I grabbed him and tried to stop him. His forehead had split open, woof, and the blood coming out of it mixed with the blood coming out of his eyes. It was impossible to even tell what he looked like now. But he shook us off and started to jerk and flail some more. That's more like it. There we go. That's more like it. Ito was shouting loudly, but he wasn't making any sense. It was as if what Kurusu had said was right, and someone was controlling his brain. Suddenly, Ito's laughter cut off, and he froze like a toy whose batteries had run out. Then all the strength drained from his body, and he collapsed. Kurusu and I together couldn't support the full weight of an unconscious human, so we all fell to the ground. Neither of us could move for a while. We just lay there, holding Ito between us. And staring at the bloody boxes that held our sister. Kurusu started to cry like a little girl, but there was nothing I could say to her, because I felt like I was going to cry too, and it was all I could do to stop myself. I could hear many footsteps in the distance. It was either Shinjo and the police, or maybe the reporters around Aoba Dorm. I closed my eyes tight. I didn't want to see anything else. I didn't want to hear anything else.
ダメだよ、タクル兄。のの姉って本当はまだ子供なんだから、タクル兄が支えてあげなくっちゃ。ね。
Was it her ghost, maybe? I could see Yui smiling gently when I closed my eyes. Duel, oh boy. Do not doubt it. 4 days after Yui's death. That was incredibly uncomfortable. And I don't know if Ito's alive or not. It said unconscious. I'm assuming he is, but oof. That was unpleasant and a half. For now, it is definitely time to stop the installment. Well, we certainly made a lot of progress today, didn't we? This one was rough. We lost Yui, and we found the killer, except probably not. Ito was the mastermind the whole time? Well, no, because if he were, then the game would be just about over. Somebody must have been controlling him from behind the scenes, and it may very well have been Senri after all. So we're not really closer to catching the killer, and we lost someone close to us. We're going to have to do something to recover from this, but all I can say is that the next chapter is called Duel. That sounds promising. Until next time, everyone.